When Marco's face landed on the front of the Christmas card, again, I knew exactly where I stood. I'm Victor Ramirez. I'm 56 now, live in East Austin. And for over 2 decades, I've been the guy in the background at family stuff. When people asked what I did, my mom would wave a hand and say, "Oh, Victor does some field work," like I was out back fixing fences. Meanwhile, Marco, the golden boy, he had the polished job, the executive title, the fiance for money. Everything about him screamed top shelf. Everything about me, background noise. It was like that every holiday. We'd sit around the table, and without fail, my dad would steer the conversation to Marco. His promotions, his bonuses, the view from his downtown condo. I'd be chewing on a dinner roll like it was my last job on earth, while Marco talked about mergers and quarterly lift. And Dad nodded like he was taking notes. Quick note before we keep going. Where are you listening from right now? Mom would lean in and whisper, "Victor's between things right now, like I was a temp worker or in rehab." She'd pat my hand like I was the family dog, and then point at the framed article on the mantle, Marco's face grinning under the headline, "Young Leaders in Healthcare Logistics." You couldn't miss it. Centerpiece of the whole living room. Marco's wedding planning turned into its own season of reality TV. They booked the Crescent in Dallas, 260 guests. The Ashfords, Lauren's family, ponied up 230 grand. My parents, they refinanced the house to cover the rest. "It's a once-in-a-lifetime," Mom said. "Marco deserves it." Like the rest of us were just second chances waiting to happen. I didn't argue. What's the point? I was supposed to be a groomsman. Then I got bumped to just family seating. Then, 4 weeks out, I'm sitting on my couch with some cold General Tso's, and I get the text. "Vic, the Ashfords are careful about optics. It's better if you skip the ceremony. Less complicated." I stared at it. My own brother, the same kid I taught to drive in a church parking lot, uninviting me for optics. I put the takeout carton down and typed one word back. "Okay." He called immediately. I let it ring, and ring, and ring. That was the moment it finally clicked. All these years they thought they knew exactly what I was, what I wasn't. I let them believe it. Maybe part of me wanted to see how far they'd go with the blindfold still on. When I finally answered, Marco jumped right in. "Hey Vic, listen man, it's complicated," he said. I leaned on the counter next to the sink, phone on speaker, arms crossed. He kept going. "It's not personal. The Ashfords just have this brand. It's not about you." That word, brand, hit like a punch under the ribs. I let him keep digging. "You're asking me not to come to your wedding," I said, flat. "Say it straight." He went quiet for half a second, then, "Yeah, that's what I'm asking." I nodded like he could see me. "Got it." He exhaled, like he thought I was letting him off the hook. That's how far gone he was. He thought this was mercy. I ended the call, walked over to my desk, and pulled up my calendar. That same Saturday down in Austin was the Lone Star Business Honors. Black tie, big room, investor tables, filmed for the live stream. I'd been invited to sit near the front, but I was going to skip it. Before the text, I'd planned to be in Dallas, clapping politely and dodging stares from Lauren's cousins. But now, my name was still on the list. I called Denise. "You back in?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Go ahead and lock me in." She laughed. "About time you let people see what you built, Vic. Here's what nobody in my family had a clue about. I didn't bounce around jobs. I left a decent field supervisor gig because I saw a choke point bleeding out small contractors. Every plumber, roofer, electrician I knew had the same issue. They were either too small for bloated enterprise software or too professional for the cheap apps that glitched every other tap. So I built something for the middle. I called it CrewTrack. Scheduling, invoices, job checklists, photo logs, dispatch, everything they needed, none of the fluff. I taught myself just enough code to sketch a prototype, then brought in people smarter than me to build the bones right. We priced it between $79 and $249 a month. No per-user games, no nickel and dime garbage. First year, 40 customers, $9 grand a month. Second year, 650 accounts, $136 monthly. Third year, almost 3,000 outfits using it, 540,000 coming in monthly. By last fall, we crossed 7,600 customers, 1.6 million per month. Series B closed in February. Valuation, 74 million. We were 21 people, tight, scrappy, productive, and I never moved. Same 680 square foot apartment, same dented Civic. I kept my clothes simple, jeans, boots, Henleys. I didn't dress like a founder. I didn't walk like one either. When the ants asked what I did, I'd say, field support. They'd nod and move on. That was the test. See if I still mattered when I didn't show my teeth. I already knew the answer, but now I had somewhere else to be. I rented a tux that fit me right. Not flashy, just clean. Polished my old Oxfords. The guy at the counter offered me a shiny bow tie. I said no thanks. I wasn't there to play a part, just to show up like I belonged. I confirmed my table, front half of the ballroom, 1 row back from the stage. Denise would be there, along with Nora, our first investor, and a welding company owner who's been riding with us since day one. I didn't invite anyone else. They had Marco's wedding. The invite sat on my counter like a dare. White, heavy cardstock, embossed lettering, RSVP card still blank. I picked it up, held it for a second, then slid it into the drawer with the old tax returns and warranty manuals. Didn't burn it, didn't rip it. I just put it away. That's what that moment felt like. Not loud, not dramatic. Just a door closing real quiet, like it was always meant to close. And this time, I wasn't going to reach back and wedge my foot in. Let them have their gala, let them toast Marco and call him the future. I'd be wearing a plain tux in a different room that night, with people who knew what I'd really built. I didn't pick up the phone. I just sat there with dessert in front of me, fork untouched, screen still buzzing. Denise leaned in. "Vic," she said, low enough not to break the air, "you're gonna want to check LinkedIn." I flipped it over. Notifications stacked like bricks. The clip was everywhere. It had captions, a background track, and a crew track logo in the corner. Clean, sharp, already past 32,000 views. I locked the screen, took a breath. I wasn't about to let a phone hijack my night. Earlier that evening, the moment I walked into the JW Marriott, I could feel it. The energy of people used to being seen. The lobby smelled like cologne and money. Laughter too loud, handshakes too tight. Press badges clipped on lapels, cameras pointed at sponsor backdrops. The kind of night where people wear ambition like aftershave. Check-in was fast. I found my table near the front. Denise waved me over. Nora was already there, sipping club soda. She gave me a grin and said, "They still don't ask what kind of shoes you're wearing, do they?" I smiled. "Not unless they're selling you some." We were exactly up against Marco's ceremony. Same hour, same kind of stage, just a different script. The program rolled through awards, manufacturing, energy, logistics. Some applause, some polite yawns. Then the lights changed and they brought out Governor Linda Cortez for the State Builder Award. That was the big one. The 3-camera setup, the mic check, the social feed ticker on the back wall. She stepped up, smiled, did her whole welcome speech. Then she pivoted. "There's a tool that's changing the lives of contractors across Texas," she said. "And not with flash or influencers, but with real support for the real workers who keep this state running." My chest tightened. I'd heard that setup before, when they prepped me over the phone. But hearing it in the room, with the lights, the people, the energy, it hit different. She went on. "They don't have commercials. They don't throw galas. They train veterans, hire from the trades, and they brought 29 good salaries to Austin and San Marcos this year alone." Then the screens behind her lit up. Dashboards, job checklists, interface shots I knew better than the back of my hand. "Please welcome Victor Ramirez, founder and CEO of CrewTrack." It didn't feel real. I stood up slow. Denise reached over and squeezed my shoulder. I walked to the stage. Every step felt sharp. I shook the governor's hand, took the glass award, and turned toward the mic. She asked what drove me. I said, "I got tired of watching good crews lose to paperwork." People clapped. She asked why I stayed small in my personal life. "Because I didn't build this for appearances." That got a laugh, real, not polite. Then she asked the one that stuck, "What would you say to someone whose family didn't believe in them?" I looked straight at the lights. My hand shook a little. "Build it anyway. If they come around, good. If they don't, you'll still have something that feeds people." And I meant it. All of it. I didn't bring up Marco. I didn't have to. I walked off stage and sat back down. Nora leaned in. "Proud of you," she said. Just like that. No fluff. By the end of the program, the clip was up. Event team posted it with a short caption. "Quiet builder, loud impact." People started tagging us. Crew track, me, even the governor. A welder's wife found me in the hallway, eyes shining. "My husband's home earlier because of your app," she said. Then she hugged me, tight, like I mattered. That one stuck. Back at the table, I watched messages roll in. Old coworkers, a foreman out in Midland, my cousin in Laredo who runs a tile shop, and mixed in 2 texts from Mom. "Is this real? Please call." I looked up. Denise caught the glance. "Family?" she asked. I nodded once. She said, "Hold the line." By the next morning, we were drowning in attention. The clip didn't go full viral. No dancing, no drama. But in the business world, it popped. 300,000 views before breakfast. 400 by lunch. Website traffic up 780%. Demo requests hit 1,900 in 36 hours. Our support inbox was lit up like Vegas on payday. Denise rerouted everything. "We're triaging like it's ER," she said. "Nobody panics. Just breathe and knock 'em down." I brewed a pot of coffee strong enough to strip paint and jumped into back-to-back calls. Partners, leads, folks asking for quotes so fast we had to pause the self-scheduler to keep up. It felt good. Exhausting, but good. Second day, my phone filled with numbers I hadn't seen in decades. People from high school, a guy who used to copy off me in shop class, an old boss who once told me, "You're not leadership material." Even a teacher, Mr. Ames, left a voicemail. "Vic, I knew you'd do something, just didn't know it'd be this." I returned the ones that made sense, skipped the ones that opened with fake warmth and "How have you been, buddy?" Like they hadn't ghosted me for 20 years. I've been broke. I've been fine. You can tell the difference between real and hungry. Third day, Marco called. I let it ring. He called again. Then a text. "We need to talk." I answered back. "You told me not to show. There's nothing to talk about." A minute later, the Ashfords saw the clip. They asked why my brother wasn't at the wedding. Lauren's mom's upset they missed the PR moment. I read that one twice. The PR moment, that's what he called it. Not a brother, not family, a missed publicity shot. I locked my phone and turned back to my screen, where I was mapping out onboarding logic and optimizing the queue for regional reps. Stuff that actually mattered. Couple hours later, Mom texted, "Your father and I didn't know. Why didn't you tell us?" I kept it short. "Because you weren't asking. I told you exactly what you wanted to hear for years. You never asked what I actually did." She wrote, "We were worried." I replied, "You were certain." She didn't respond after that. Probably didn't know how. I wasn't mad. I was done wasting energy trying to explain myself to people who never listened in the first place. That same afternoon, a message came in from an unknown number. "Hi, Victor. This is Lauren. My parents would like to meet and discuss potential synergies between CrewTrack and our clinic network." I stared at it. Sounded like it got written in a boardroom. I typed back, "CrewTrack wasn't built for family optics. I don't take meetings for appearances." She replied with a typing bubble, then a long block of text about community impact and joint philanthropy opportunities. I didn't even open it all the way. Just let it sit. The only message that hit me that night came from a shop owner out in Temple. Said, "Your schedule board saved my marriage." I had to sit back for that one. I screenshotted it and dropped it in our team chat. Denise replied first, "Hell yes." Nora followed with a heart emoji. Only time I didn't mind seeing one. We were wiped, eyes dry, backs tight, heads spinning. But nobody whined. Nobody asked to log off early. Because when that many people tell you you're making their life easier, it fuels you. Even when your hands are shaking and your phone won't shut up, and your family suddenly wants to understand what you do after a decade of acting like you were just passing time between failures. We didn't celebrate. We kept working. That was the flip. That's when it turned from nice idea to undeniable. I didn't move for a long time after she left. Just leaned on the door, letting the silence catch up. Then my phone buzzed again. Denise. Still holding the line? I texted back. "Yeah, it's not easy." Monday came fast. I was neck deep in API load issues when another knock hit the door. This time louder. I checked the peephole. Dad. He never comes alone. I opened the door, kept one hand on the frame. He was wearing a golf polo, like he'd come from somewhere casual, but his face looked like he'd sat in traffic for 2 hours just thinking. "Got a minute?" he asked. I stepped back and nodded toward the chair. Same one Mom used. He sat with that stiff back posture he pulls when he's uncomfortable, but wants to look in control. He looked around my little place. Small TV, no dining table, work laptop, open on the kitchen counter. "You live simple," he said. "Works for me." He nodded slowly, then tapped his fingers on his knee. "Your mother told me what you said." I didn't answer. He cleared his throat. "She said you want time." "That's right." "She said you want real questions." "Also right." Then he looked at me. Really looked. "So what should I ask?" That one surprised me. I stayed quiet, waiting to see if he was just throwing a line or meant it. He leaned forward, elbows on his thighs. "What did you build, Vic? Like, really?" I gave it to him straight. No pitch deck, no fancy words. I told him how CrewTrack runs on real job flow logic, how every screen was designed after watching electricians fumble through bloated apps while sweat ran down their backs, how we priced it for the guys who don't have time to chase reps on hold music, how we trained ex-military and built a team from scratch. I told him we were lean, clean, profitable, and worth more than 70 million. He blinked. 70? 74 in February, I said. Probably more now. He sat back. I didn't know. I shrugged. You didn't want to. That landed harder than he expected. His mouth opened, then shut again. You were always focused on Marco, I said. Everything he did got applause. Everything I did got skipped. I wasn't mad about it for a long time. Just tired. He looked at the floor. I thought I was doing what was best, pushing the one with the clean path. You pushed the one who looked like you wanted to look. That's not the same thing. We let that hang. Then he asked, Is there a way to fix this? I didn't go soft. I laid it out clean. 1 coffee a month, public place, 1 hour. No stories about Marco. No questions that sound like judgment in disguise. Just real ones. You can ask about my work, my team, the things I care about, or you can ask nothing and just listen. We do that for 6 months, then we see. He nodded. No edits, no counteroffers. That I can do, he said. He stood. I walked him to the door. On his way out, he paused. I don't deserve it, he said, but I'd like the chance anyway. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He left, and I didn't feel wrecked afterward. Just light. The next day, Lauren's mom emailed me. Full name in the sender line. No hello, no warm-up. Subject: Strategic Philanthropy Opportunity. She invited me to a networking brunch at some country club in Highland Park. Said it was an exciting time to align visions. I forwarded it to Priya, our new PR lead. She called me 5 minutes later. Want my advice? She asked. Yep. Polite no. Clear boundaries. You don't need that circus. So I replied to the invite. Thank you for thinking of us. CrewTrack partners only with organizations serving the trades directly. Wishing you the best. Priya met me in the kitchen the next morning with a stack of press clippings in one hand and cold brew in the other. Here, she said, you're a thing now. The national piece dropped overnight. Full feature. Front business section. They called me the builder nobody clapped for, until now. I thought the headline was a little dramatic, but the story hit hard. They didn't skip the family stuff either. Didn't use names, but it was clear. The disinvite, the cold shoulder, the slow fade. All of it out there. I wasn't sure how I felt seeing it in print. Priya said, You wouldn't believe how many people emailed us at 2 a.m. She was right. The inbox was packed. Hundreds of messages. Guys my age who'd been overlooked, benched, pushed out of sight. My dad still thinks I'm just messing around with tools. My brother says I peaked in high school. My whole family skipped my ribbon cutting. I answered the ones that weren't fishing for a handout. Just real people reaching for something solid. That month, everything sped up. 2 trade associations reached out, a roofing network in Houston, and a national HVAC org based in Denver. We signed with both. No fluff, no handshakes for show. Nora helped write the contracts, made sure we didn't give away the store with bulk discounts. Hold your price, she told me. You're not Costco. Denise brought in a new hire, Priya, the PR lead, who ran cleaner than anyone I'd worked with. She said, "You're a straight shooter who built something real while everyone looked past you. Tell it exactly like that." I didn't add glitter, didn't need it. I told people how we taught ourselves where we could, hired where we were dumb, and stayed obsessed with making life easier for a guy on a ladder holding his phone with one hand. Series C came together faster than I liked. 29 million at 118 million valuation. I slowed the process just enough to ask real questions. Who controls what? Who gets a board seat? Do I still have veto power if someone wants to jam useless features into the product just to impress their investors? Nora backed me hard. Would have walked away with me if the terms went sideways. We signed, no champagne. I brought kolaches from a spot near South First. The team crushed 24 in 15 minutes. That's how we celebrated. Sugar and silence, then back to work. The national paper kept traveling. People shared it, reposted quotes, circled sentences. I got tagged in threads from dads, vets, small shop owners, some crying, some just tired, and then Marco. "They think I made a bad call," he texted. "It's hurting us." I stared at that word. "Us," I wrote back. "You told me not to come, Marco. Own it." A retired Army sergeant who'd been helping us train new accounts came to the office. Quiet guy, wore the same flannel twice a week. No ego. Just showed up and taught guys how to use the system. He dropped a folded piece of paper on my desk and walked off. I opened it. "You gave me a second career. Thank you." I read it twice, put it under the glass on my desk. When things got loud, that note stayed right there. That was the only kind of headline I wanted. The paper stayed under the glass. I'd touch it now and then, just to remind myself the real stuff still mattered more than the noise. About 6 weeks after the honors, my phone lit up with Dad's name. No hey or long-winded voicemail. Just a message. "Let me buy you coffee." I told him to pick a spot. He chose an old diner off South Lamar, the one with booths that stick in the summer, and a jukebox nobody uses anymore. I got there 10 minutes early. He was already seated, 2 mugs in front of him, both steaming. His hands were wrapped around his like he was holding onto it for balance. First thing I noticed, he looked older, not just tired, smaller. "Appreciate you coming," he said. I nodded, didn't say anything. He took a breath. "I failed you." That sentence hit harder than anything Marco ever said. Dad didn't do declarations. He did expectations, quiet disappointment, and pats on the back that landed like corrections. He kept going. I learned the rules a certain way. School, job, ladder, one rung at a time. That's what made sense to me. So I pushed that on you. And when you didn't follow it, I got pissed. I watched the steam come off his cup. Let him keep talking. I liked having a favorite. I didn't say it out loud, but I picked Marco. Because it was easier. He looked the part, said the right words. People nodded when I told his stories. I got something out of that. And I'm sorry for it. I didn't nod, didn't smile, just let it hang. He looked down at the table, then back at me. "I'd like a shot at doing better. Don't need a trophy, just a chance." I set my cup down. "Same rules as before," I said. "1 coffee a month." "No edits," he said. "I'm in." And I believed him. Not because of the words, because he didn't argue. Meanwhile, the Ashfords wouldn't quit. Lauren's mom sent an email, subject line, "Strategy lunch, aligning causes." Priya flagged it and walked it over. "You want the clean version or the spicy one?" "Clean," I said. She smiled. "Thought so." I replied with one sentence. Crew track partners with organizations that directly serve the trades. We're not aligned with donor-driven initiatives at this time. That was all, no salt, no emotion. Priya called it a headline that doesn't get written. That's how you win sometimes, by staying out of the paper. Then Mom texted, a picture of a chicken casserole on the stovetop and, "Thinking of you." I didn't overanalyze it. That's how she speaks. Warm meals and awkward timing. I texted back, "Looks good, thanks." No fights, no unpacking. I'm not interested in winning old arguments anymore. I'm just trying to live in a way that doesn't spike my blood pressure every week. A few days later, a letter showed up at the office in handwriting I hadn't seen since Marco's middle school science fair. 2 pages, No return address, but I knew. He said he'd panicked, that he was afraid of letting the Ashfords down, said he thought he was protecting me, keeping you from feeling out of place. And now he realized he just didn't want to feel exposed himself. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He said he was wrong, not because I made it big, because I was his brother, and he said he'd be here when I was ready. I folded the note and slid it into the same drawer with the wedding invite. Different kind of pain, same quiet place. I'm not great at fast forgiveness, never have been. I need time to trust a new pattern. Over the next 3 months, we hired 17 more people, opened a small satellite office near Round Rock, and fixed our onboarding flow so Mondays didn't feel like a flood every time. The wave calmed down, not slow, just steady. It felt like finishing a long job and finally sweeping the floor. CrewTrack crossed $24 million in annual revenue last quarter. No ads, no banners, no flex, just work. I bought a modest place in Travis Heights, 3 bedrooms, a small office, and a patch of grass I pretend I'll take better care of. There's a garage I can actually park in, and a backyard shed full of old tools I probably won't touch again but can't throw out. I paid cash, not to show off, just to skip the paperwork. The governor invited me to speak at a state workforce event. I said yes on one condition: 5 minutes on stage to talk about trades with respect. They gave me 6. I stood there in front of 200 suits and told them the best work I've ever seen was done by folks who don't own a tie. They clapped. Some of them meant it. That was enough. In December, Mom called and told me Marco and Lauren had separated. Her voice was small. I didn't gloat. I didn't say, "Told you so." I just said I was sorry it fell apart, and I hoped they both figured themselves out. Quiet payback isn't a victory lap. It's watching the scoreboard and deciding not to point. Dad and I kept the coffee rule. 6 months straight, no storms. He asks about dispatch features now, nods when I break it down in plain words. Last time he said, "I like the man you are," and didn't tack on a finally. I drove home with the window down, just breathing. A kid at a community college asked me after a talk, "What do you do when your family doesn't see you?" I told him the only thing I know that holds up: build it anyway. If they come around, good. You'll have more chairs at your table. If they don't, you'll still have a table. That's the whole revenge right there, living a life that works without their permission. The award from the honors sits on a shelf in my office now. I dust it sometimes. Doesn't mean I won against anybody. Doesn't make me more than I was. It just reminds me I didn't quit on myself when it would have been easier to stay quiet. And that's what matters.